Hey, what up, guys? It's Chris here, and I just finished watching a couple YouTube videos talking about how Big Sean is getting dissed by Kendrick Lamar ever since The Heart Part 4 came out earlier this year, and even more since Damn came out. But recently, I just saw this one video by Mr. Telefonero where he said Big Sean and J. Cole are getting disrespected and or discredited recently, and that Big Sean is on the same level as Kendrick Lamar, even better than Kendrick Lamar. The fuck? Yeah. I'm gonna respond to this because I can't let this kind of blasphemous shit continue. But I do want to be fair, so I will consider album sales and successful hits and singles and keep it part of the conversation. So I want to take it back to when these three rappers were very success. These three very successful rappers were fucking nobodies. I want to take it back to when they were fucking nobodies in 2010, 2011, the years before their first albums came out respectively. Big Sean's debut album, Finally Famous, came out in 2011, along with J. Cole's most cringeworthy title, Sorry Cole, but that title did not age well, so I'm just going to refer to it as Silent Story. And Kendrick's debut album, Good Kid, Mad City, came out the next year in October. And well, the reviews for those albums already paint the picture, people. On Metacritic, Finally Famous has a rating of 69. Noise. Good Kid, or no, J. Cole's Silent Story has an 75 average rating, and Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City pulls up from fucking 40 and drops 91 on their asses. And this is just the first round, people. I mean, Jesus. So if you want to talk about numbers specifically, I mean, Finally Famous, it debuted number 3 on the Billboard charts, and it sold a respectable 87,000. It's pretty good. Silent Story, it debuted at number 1 on the charts, and it sold 218,000. And Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, it sold 242,000, but it debuted at number 2 because, thanks Taylor Swift. The highest charting singles from each album go like this: Kendrick's Swimming Pools charts at 17, J. Cole's Workout charts at 13, and Big Sean's got the highest charting single out of the three of them with Ass. It got to number 10 on the Hot 100, so do with that info what you will, I guess. So yeah, I think it's pretty fair to say. I think it's pretty fair to say it's an easy win for Kendrick on the first round of albums, with Cole in second, and then Sorry Sean, you're in third. But let's see what happens with the sophomore albums. And this time around, let's start with my guy J. fucking Cole. This time around, he's quoting Biggie with the title Born Sinner, and this time around, he's selling 292. And this time around, he's selling 297 copies. And he had a very successful single with Miguel called Power Trip. It charted 19. Big Sean's second album, Hall of Fame, it sold 72,000, which some would consider a flop. You know, it's a shame. It did sold less than his last album, and that's actually sucks because in my opinion, this was a very big improvement from Finally Famous. I enjoy this album a lot more than Finally Famous, and he and even got a 72 average rating on Metacritic, 3 more than Finally Famous, which was at 69. Its highest single was Beware featuring Lil Wayne and Jhené Aiko. It charted at 38. Big Sean or J. Cole's Born Center, it got a 71 on Metacritic, so I guess they kind of balance out in a way. Not really. Um, but yeah, both those albums came out in 2013. Kendrick Lamar's second album did not come out till 2 years later in 2015. And then in 2015 he released this little album. I don't know if y'all heard of it. It's called To Pimp a Butterfly. It sold 324,000 and it debuted number 1 this time. Fuck you, Taylor Swift. It's one of the few hip hop albums that have a 95 or more rating on Metacritic. And just so you guys know, it's pretty hard to do. And really, this is where the whole conversation should like kind of completely turn towards Kendrick's favor. But because this album wasn't that big on radio hits, or it wasn't a really big radio friendly album, I mean, the most successful song was but it charted at 39. And I've always heard a lot of complaints about this album. People saying that it's whack, or they don't like the sound of it, or they think that Kendrick doesn't sound good, or he's not rapping enough. That's a weak excuse, and I'm not even gonna try to. I'm not even gonna play with that. I'm not even gonna give it that time of day. This is really this conversation really starts becoming more of a J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar one-on-one thing. Big Sean really took an L this round, pun intended. I don't know. I guess let's just keep it moving. The third round of albums were all released in different years, but for the sake of argument, I'm gonna keep going and let's just go. Big Sean's Dark Sky of Paradise came out in 2015. J. Cole's Forest Hills Drive came out in 2014, and then Kendrick released Untitled Unmastered in 2016. Even though I feel like this is more of a bunch of B-sides records, it still got an 86 on Metacritic. Dark Sky Paradise got a 72, and J. Cole Forest Hills Drive got a 67. Really? A 67. That's interesting. I didn't even know it got those kind of reviews, but the user score is 81 if that helps. But damn. Honestly, this round should kind of really be between J. Cole and not Kendrick, J. Cole and Big Sean, because Kendrick's album wasn't really a full project and it didn't really sell as much as his last two albums. So I'm kind of taking Kendrick out of this one real quick. And when we just check the sales between J. Cole and Kendrick, Dark Sky Paradise sold 137,000 or 173,000, sorry, and Forest Hills Drive sold 353,000, which is literally double the amount of sales that Big Sean did. So I feel like we should just give this to Cole straight off the bat. But I do want to say that Dark Sky Paradise is my favorite Big Sean album. Definitely an improvement. But I'm going to give it to Cole because Forest Hills Drive is clearly the superior album. I do not know who you were talking to when they say Big Sean is better than Kendrick or J. Cole. Don't know who you're talking to. But let's just keep it moving. Okay, so now we've made it to the present day, and now we can really look back at these guys, all three of their careers, and really kind of judge them based off their bodies of work. And before we do that, let's just look at their last albums that he just released. Big Sean released I Decided. That sold 151,000. 151,000 its first week. J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only. That sold 492,000 its first week. And Kendrick Lamar's Damn sold 603,000 its first week. What are the Metacritic scores, do you ask? I Decided has a 67, For Your Eyes Only has a 75, and Damn has a 95. I feel like at this point, do I really have to continue? These numbers speak for themselves. Big Sean, honestly speaking, Big Sean has never been in the same category as J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. I don't know who the fuck keeps saying that, but let's be honest. Out of those three, Big Sean is clearly the most mainstream and commercial rapper out of the three of them. I don't know why they keep putting him in the same conversation. I don't get it. Honestly, I would rather put Big Sean in the same conversation as Wiz Khalifa or A$AP Rocky before I put him with J. Cole and Kendrick. Again, I'm not trying to knock him out. I'm not trying to discredit him, but I'm just saying. Besides the fact that they came out the same year or around the same time, the way they rap, their cadence, the singles they put out, none of it's the same. I don't see anything close to being similar or the same. Personally, for me, I always thought this was obvious that Big Sean was on the same level as a J. Cole or as a Kendrick Lamar. But I will say this: I do respect Big Sean because he has literally forced himself into this conversation of the top rappers today. That is something that is not easy to do. He had a lot of bad music out before. I'm sorry, but a lot of his mixtapes were not good. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna stop there before I get deeper into it. But for real, I want to give props to Big Sean. His music has always been fun. I've always enjoyed it, but I just wouldn't put him as the best rapper out right now. I mean, you gotta but you really gotta give him props. I mean, he's convinced people like Mr. Telefonero that he's a better rapper than J. Cole or Kendrick, and ultimately that's his opinion. And ultimately, this was my opinion. So yeah, what do you guys think? You think I'm tripping? Do you think I got a point? Let me know. Like, subscribe, or don't. I'm chilling either way. Peace.